Well, howdy. My name is Chris Hunter, and welcome to the Local Service Ads Mastery for Roofers workshop. So I am super excited about this workshop because we are seeing some really great results for our clients using local service ads. And I wanted to share this with you because I believe deep down in my heart that you could easily add another million, 2 million, 3 million to your bottom line simply by doing what we're going to go over here in this workshop. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Who am I? My name is Chris Hunter. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of roofingsites.com. I am also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. This is about 336 pages of my past 20 years of knowledge of working inside of the digital marketing industry and working with roofers. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but if you don't have that book in your hands, you need it in your hands. You can get it on Amazon, of course, but if you wait to the end, I'm going to give you a link as a bonus for staying to the end. And there's a lot of other things, by the way, at the very end of this workshop that I'm going to give to you as bonuses just for rewarding you for staying in here. Anyways, I'm the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. We, of course, are members of the NRCA, RCAT, HARCA, all of these letters, right? The NRCA is the National Roofing Contractors Association. RCAT is the Roofing Contractors Association of Texas, and HARCA is the Houston Area Roofing Contractors Association. Lots of words there. Either way, we are involved. I have been doing SEO since 1998. If you do your history on that, that is well before Google actually released. My first website that I ranked was on Yahoo, and that was a way different thing way back then. And I know that super dates me, but I have been around this industry for a long time. Random fact about me, I rode my bicycle solo from College Station, Texas to Washington, D.C. in 2012, all in the name of cancer. My dad passed from cancer a couple of years before that. And I guess I went through a midlife crisis and decided, you know what? I'm going to ride my bike all the way from College Station to Washington, D.C. But it was raising awareness and money for pancreatic cancer, what my dad passed from. I'm on a mission to double the size of 100 roofing companies before 2028. I think that we are well on our way for that. And this is part of my big, hairy, audacious goal right here is just ensuring that we are giving valuable content to our audience and making sure that you, the roofing company owners, know how to grow your business. So what I wrote my book on, this is the 4R roofing marketing system. I'm not going to go real deep into this, but it is made up of 4 pillars. Reputation. You can't do anything at all in marketing that actually works. Trust me, we've tried it. You have to have a solid reputation. It's your foundation. Reach is simply getting in front of more people today than knew about you yesterday. Most people, when they think about marketing, that's what it is. Resell. You're 15 times more likely to sell to someone who's purchased from you before in the past. So why not make that part of your marketing system? And the pinnacle of this is how we all built our businesses from the start. But the bigger that we get, the harder this piece is to scale. This is the referral. Is we all built on referrals. We love referrals, but bigger we get, the harder it is to scale. What we're going to talk about today is inside of the reach and reputation pillars. Okay. And these are local service ads. If you know anything about me, if you watched any of my videos, if you listen to our podcast on Roofer Growth Hacks, by the way, if you're not subscribed to our podcast on Roofer Growth Hacks, or you might be listening to it now because we are recording this and it does go part of our podcast. Google is where you need to be concentrating on. 20 years ago, it was the Yellow Pages. Well, this $1,000 machine sitting in everyone's pocket. I've got it plugged in over here. I've got to go grab it. This $1,000 machine sitting in your pocket here has replaced the Yellow Pages. And that's a no-brainer. Well, Google specifically has replaced the Yellow Pages. So we should be concentrating on Google to get in front of those people. It also, by the way, has the highest buyer intent because people pull this thing out and they research you with it. Since 2020, since COVID lockdown, that has changed dramatically. It used to be everyone, half and half of people would go to their phone, half people would go to their computer. Nowadays, 99% of everyone checks you out on their phone. Sorry. It stands to be said that Google has the highest buyer intent because that's where people go to find you and your services. They go there and not to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, definitely not TikTok to go find you. They go there to find entertaining videos. They go to Facebook to go find pictures of their dogs or people's dogs or cats or kids or food or catch up on politics if that's what you're into. They don't go there to find a roofer. They pull out their phone, they go to Google. It makes all of the sense in the world, if you think about it, to dominate Google. So, what we're going to go over in this workshop here is how to set up and optimize local service ads specifically. It's just one aspect. We're going to talk about what to avoid. We're going to talk about some things that are new, and then we're going to give you some expert tips and tricks at the very end here. Okay. First, I took some screenshots today, and these, obviously, this is Google. The very first part of what we see there are local service ads when we do a search for roofing company. You could do roofing company Houston. That's where I'm close to. Roofing company Dallas, Atlanta, wherever that you are coming from. And it's going to be very, very similar in this search engine result page. This is a SERP. So the very first part that you see there are local service ads. The next one down are Google ads. Sometimes you see these, sometimes you don't. A lot of times when I'm doing searches nowadays, I'm not seeing the Google ads show up, but they still show up on some searches. Just because we search for roofing company and they don't show up, sometimes they might show up for a roofing contractor or, roofer near me or something like that. The next is Google Maps. We all know this, right? The Google 3-pack, or the Map Pack, sometimes it's called. This is the area where it has taken over as one of the most trusted areas. You get a lot of phone calls through Google, but through your Google business profile, which is Google Maps. And then the next area, what I started off in this industry on, was organic. So those are the 4 spots on Google's search engine result page. Again, sometimes the ads show up, sometimes they don't, but in almost all searches right now, those local service ads are showing. So let's talk about the local service ads area. One of the biggest things that I notice when I look at this, and I come at it from a standpoint of a consumer. First of all, in this specific screenshot that I took, we have 2 listings in local service ads. The biggest thing that I see, though, is that Amstel Roofing has 900 reviews. Ernie Smith has 214, but a lot of times we'll see like someone that is 300 reviews and 8. A lot of times it's a no-brainer for who the consumer is going to call. So your reviews are very, very important because these are being pulled in from your Google business profile, but they're also, Google wants you to add to your reviews through their system. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. The other things that I notice on here, you've got 2 buttons next to each of these listings. You've got message, you've got call. There's a new one, by the way, called book. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but that basically integrates with your booking calendar. Not all software is integrated yet with Google. All right. So we can talk a little bit about that in a little bit later, but that is a very, very new feature that we have noticed just even in the past month that has been rolling out to each service area. So the other part, I think, that adds to the reputation piece and why these things work so well. See that little green checkbox, Google Guaranteed? Sometimes people call these ads, by the way, not local service ads or LSAs. Sometimes I call them Google Guaranteed ads, right? Whatever, they're all synonymous there. But that little checkbox is very important because Google is backing you as a contractor and saying, hey, I'm going to show your ad here and call you a Google Guaranteed roofer or roofing company. And so therefore, we're going to give you this little checkbox. People are starting to understand that more and more. And so more and more people are going to this local service ads area. So let's talk about Google Ads. So this is all part of the Google Ads infrastructure. Local service ads are. You first have to have a Google Ads account before you can even set up local service ads. You have to have both a Google Ads account and you have to have a Google business profile set up before you can even think about setting up local service ads. The problem with Google Ads, though, if you've ever run those before, is they're hard. There are a million different configurations that you can do. There are all sorts of ways to mess them up. So Google Ads are very hard. Next, they're expensive. If you mess them up, if you do things wrong, it's going to completely mess up that ad account. And in fact, in my experience, the more that you mess with those ads, the further it gets messed up, the less that they will work. So if you're in there tweaking things on a daily basis and messing with those things and the ad copy and the targeting and all of those things, or even worse, Like I put here on the meme where it says applied all suggestions, the Google Ads rep, that's what they're telling you to do. Oh, apply all of these things. Don't ever listen to a Google Ads rep ever, 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 because it is not their intention to save you money. It's not their intention to get you the best results. Their intention is for you to spend more money with Google Ads. That's just know that. So there's a lot of ways to mess up those Google Ads. So what we want to do then is we want to have local service ads go on. That's where this, enter these local service ads to the rescue. I've got Captain America here because you know what? I like Captain America. He's got a lot of things good going on for him. And you know what? So do local service ads. So local service ads, by the way, started in about 2015 for plumbing, HVAC, electrical. They weren't released, and Google has slowly released that platform to different services, mainly home services, but there's all sorts of other companies that can do it now. By the way, marketing companies are not allowed on that platform. I think that they're a little biased towards us, but neither here nor there. But in 2020, they released the local service ads platform to roofing contractors. And what we have seen in the past year is that Google is placing more and more and more emphasis on those local service ads. It's a simpler interface for the most part. There are a few things that you can do and mess those things up, and we're going to go through those. But for the most part, it's a simpler interface than Google Ads. The other big difference is that they are pay per lead and not pay per click. So you can mess things up quite drastically on the pay per click platform, the main Google Ads platform. And for the most part, they don't care. They're like, give us your money. And with the Google Local Service Ads platform, if someone is not a true lead and they've got AI listening to those calls nowadays and checking out the messages, right? If determines that it is not a good lead now, you get credited. They used to give you your money back, but now they credit you. So you don't have to pay for that lead. So that's actually one of the biggest benefits in my opinion. And they by the way, they started this platform to compete with Angie's and with Home Advisor. And because the pay-per-lead model is so good for them, for advertising in general, and for you, that it's a performance-based model. So it is a great platform, I believe, and it's something, if you set it up correctly, you're going to be able to get better sales conversions. We are seeing way better sales conversions right now through this platform than for pay-per-click, SEO, Google Business Profile. Those all work and those all drive down the cost per lead, but you have to have a little bit more volume for those to actually work. Well, with Google Local Service Ads, you don't necessarily have to have that high volume anymore to get the results that you want. Remember, if we want to add $1 million in revenue over a year's time, you just need to sell 6 roofs per month. So to add another million, you just need 6 roofs per month. We're seeing 60% conversion rates from our clients. And now that's a very general statement there. We see a lot of these and we look at the conversion rates for the actual sale. If we talk about pay-per-click and Google Business Profile and all of these different platforms, you're probably going to be looking at a 25% conversion rate from a cold lead, someone calling you, into an actual sale. On local service ads, we are seeing anywhere between 50 and 60% conversion rate. So that means you need less leads in order to get where you want to go. So to me, that's a no-brainer. I want the platform that is going to convert better. Now, problem with LSAs though, it is not a set it and forget it platform. A lot of people think that it is, but it's not. It can't be. You have to get in there daily. You have to work the leads in their back end, because if you don't, and they're going to penalize you by not ranking you. They want to remember, there was only 2 spots. Sometimes people will click on the more contractors button, but there were only 2 spots in that search engine result page. To be one of those 2 spots for those searchers, you have to do some work. And we're going to go over a lot of that, but just know that it's not a set and forget platform at all. We want to be in there daily. We want to be in there weekly. We want to be in there monthly. We want to be in there quarterly. All of those with specific items that we are checking off that we are looking at. A lot of the times, this can be a back end person your admin person. This could be someone that is matching up the CRM, AccuLinks or Job Nimbus or the Appointment Machine, which is our CRM. If they're matching up those with the leads that are coming in here, then it helps the whole system out. If you do that on a daily basis, that helps the entire system. So let's get into a little bit of the details here. This is all the geeky stuff that I get into, all of the little check boxes that need to be checked. Very first thing that you need to do when you set up a local service ads, when you set those up, you've got a lot of things to go through. And this is where it gets into that the Chucks of the world are not able to do this, because the big parts there, those top two items, you'll see the roofer business license. If you're in a state that requires licensing, you got to prove that you have a license. And by the way, that it hasn't expired. You have to have that. You have proof of insurance as well. You have to do background checks. You have to get customer reviews. So if you're a brand new business and you don't even have any reviews, and we've had some issues with this with clients who have a brand new Google business profile, because it pulls it from there, is that we have to get reviews first. It's the chicken or the egg. Well, the chicken part is that we have to have those reviews. And I believe it's 5. Is that Ross? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. That's 5 reviews in order to pass the test. Get a little checkbox there. Next is budget. That's pretty easy. I recommend that you set up, depending on whatever your budget is. If you're saying I have $1,000 budget per month for local service ads, you have to consider that, well, to get that conversion, it's going to cost roughly in between $200 and $300 with that 60% conversion rate. It's going to cost in between $200 and $300 for you to get a conversion. So you just kind of work backwards from there for a budget. But you've got to put your budget in. You've got to put your billing information in. This is actually pulled from the Google Ads platform. You have to have a Google Ads account set up first, then you set up a local service ads account. Inside of the Google Ads account, you're going to set up your billing information, your credit card. I would recommend a backup credit card just in case the first one fails for whatever reason. Anyways, you have to get that all set up in order to get set up here. This process, by the way, sometimes takes upwards of a month that we see with clients. Sometimes, if you're not taking care of business, it could take even longer. If you're not going out there and getting your business license, your proof of insurance, your DBA, all of the paperwork that is involved with all of this, then it's just going to slow things down. So make sure that you actually take care of all of that. Now, Melissa, I'm going to stop here. Melissa, you have a question. Can you differentiate from commercial versus residential roof leads in LSA? All right. Ross is saying no.
So you can, if a commercial owner, someone who owns like a strip mall or something like that, they can still look and search for your ads and they will appear. But it's not like you could say, I only want to advertise to commercial or I only want to advertise to residential. There is a new feature that actually just rolled out this week, essentially, that Chris is going to be talking about, how you could rate your lead. And I think at that point now with this new feature, you're able to say, hey, this is a commercial lead, even though it was cool, this is not something that I would want to deal with specifically. And you provide that feedback to Google at that point. Or on the flip side, you could say, hey, I don't want commercial, I only want residential. And then there's a way now that we believe you could start fine tuning these local service ads better. But when it comes to Google, and they have a search section in the back where you can see the different type of search terms that are on there. And there's nothing where it's going to be it's more generic for a roofing contractor at that point. And then from there, when you do get these leads coming in, you could, you just, determine based on you qualify your customer based on the phone call or the message that they send you, essentially. And then from there, you can say, hey, unfortunately, this is just a service we either offer or don't offer from there. And you kind of fine tune it a little bit. So it's not like the search ads where you could put commercial roofing as an example as a negative search term to where those ads wouldn't appear at that point.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome, Ross. Awesome. The other question that Melissa had was, we use subs for installers. Do they do background tests or only the employed? It's really just your employees that do the background checks. The subs are subs.
So Google, part of the background check process that they do say, Google does say that anyone who is interacting with a customer or potentially going into the customer's house should have a background check. And I do quotations because Google doesn't know how many employees you have. So it's a
Right.
fine line of where you're at there. Google recommends it where it's at. So I would suggest always follow Google's best practices, but you could also get your ads up and running away and not really have to worry about a background check
Mhm.
as long as the business owner passes. So I'll leave that information with you, how you want to dissect that essentially.
Yeah, for sure. And
Thank you.
there's a lot of things that are best practices and that kind of thing, but it can definitely slow down the process. All right, so the next, let's talk about your profile. You're going to see a lot of these slides. I had to black out our customers' information because we sign a confidentiality agreement, that kind of thing. So I leave in here the information that I feel is pertinent to this slide. So this is your profile section. You've got a couple of different things on here. It's like I said, it's very simplified. But when it pulls in your Google Business profile, it's going to pull in a lot of this information. The parts that you need to check here are the ad schedule. See that business hours? If you click up on that, you've got to go through that and set your business hours. We're going to get into that here in a little bit, but I highly recommend that you set those hours for when you're actually answering those phones. So if you don't have a call service, if you don't have someone answering those phones 24 hours, 7 days a week, don't set your business hours as 24/7. That's going to hurt you in the long run because the less that you pick up the phone, the less they're going to show those ads. The other part are these business bios. If you click on this little pencil icon in the lower hand corner, these are all little check boxes to check anything that is pertinent to you and your business there. And like for instance, we've got veteran owned and operated on this one, a GAF certified contractor, all those kinds of things. We want to make sure that anything that is pertinent to you, yeah, we're going to pull in, we're going to show in that ad. Next, budget. This is, we halfway, talked about this, but what we have been setting these up as on the bidding strategy, let's talk about that first. There's automated bidding, and then there's, more of a fine-tuned bidding. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head here, but we recommend the automated bidding. Just keep it easy on that part. Average weekly budget, set it to what you can afford. But what we're seeing is that we're setting it a little bit above what our clients are saying that they could afford, what their budget is. Of course, we're getting their permission on that. We've got what we're showing here is 605. We've got a client, I think, that has a $20,000 a week budget, upwards. We went up even further. Go with what you can afford. You're not going to use all of that. That's what we're seeing with this platform is that you're not going to come anywhere close to that actual budget for the most part. So max it out as much as you possibly can. Also, and Rochelle brought this up in our meeting, do it like Price is Right. Don't just put $600, put 605, 610. Because this is a bidding system here. If everyone else is putting in $600 and you come in at 605, guess who's going to win? That's going to be you. Google's going to go, oh, they're going to go 605. I'm going to put them up number one. There's a lot of other factors that go into it, but that's one of the big factors. Previous 7 days, it'll show you how many leads that you've gotten and all that kind of stuff. But in order to edit that, you just click that edit budget button there. Job types over on the again, make sure that you check off anything that applies to you and your business. If you don't do gutters, if you don't want gutters coming from this specific platform here, if you don't want gutter work because they don't pay the bills, don't check that off. Part of the optimization part of this is ensuring that we're going in with your highest services that are going to make you the most profit, the most money. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. If gutters, you're not making that much money on those and they aren't really your profit center, don't check that off. Next, photos are important. We want to add photos initially when we're setting up these LSA accounts. Add your logo, add your trucks, add photos of jobs that you've done, add photos of your office. Here are the things to stay away from, though. The biggest thing to stay away from, because it violates Google's terms of service and it'll shut your ads off lickety split if they come across it and that is your phone number. The reason for that, they don't want your phone number showing is because they have another phone number for you. And they don't want people bypassing that system by simply going to those pictures. So it's against their terms of service. They will actually That'll be a policy violation and it'll turn your ads off. So what we've done, and it's hard if you've got your trucks, you've done your good marketing and you've got trucks with phone numbers all over those things. What do? Well, what we've done for clients is just Photoshop those things out. You can black them out, kind of like you've seen. I blacked out their logo on their truck here. And, that first photo, by the way, that first image there is their logo. I blacked that out just for confidentiality. But for the most part, you want to go through there. You want to make sure that you are adding photos. And by the way, you want to add these not just on setup, you want to add these on a regular basis. And we'll go over, kind of a time frame from what you want to do on that. Settings, this is pretty easy. Make sure that you turn on message leads. We want to give every option that we possibly can for people to hire us. Turn everything on here. Turn on the messages, and that's a messaging through their system here. Check the email box, of course. Check text messages. That's their phone number that they're going to send the text message to. Am I on that, Ross? Yeah. That's why I blacked that thing out. The next little checkbox there is direct business search. This is kind of a new thing. And this is, I had to have Ross explain this one to me, but basically when people do a search for your name, your ad shows up, not your competitors. And so you want them going through that. You're going to pay for that, for them to go through that, but it's a nominal fee. It's less than the normal local service ad pay per lead, but highly recommend that you check that on. Because if someone does a search for you and your competitor comes up, people are not, searchers are going to go for the quickest and easiest thing when they do a search for something. And most of the time, they're going to click on that top ad. If that top ad is your competitor, guess where they're going? So we want to have that turned on.
One thing I would like to add to that too. So yes, it will make it to where your competitors' ads will not be displayed, only your ads. And there is a thing where it's like, well, if someone's searching for me directly, like a lot of times, if I'm just going to say ABC, if there is an ABC roofing, cool, you get a free plug, but I'm using that as just default. So ABC Roofing Company, you look it up. A lot of times it could be a returning customer too that could just be looking for you and just they have a question. And by default, people are going to be just what is the easiest. And since if people are searching for you directly and you're running ads, your ad will show up. And if they click on it, obviously you're going to get charged. But what's cool about that feature is Google will ask, are you a returning customer? Press 1 if yes. And as long as they press 1, you will not be charged for a returning customer who clicks on your ad to call you at that. So that's what's nice about that feature also.
Very cool. Awesome. So very cool, things here. So service areas, I blacked this out. If you're from Texas, you know exactly where this is. But, this is there. I didn't want to show the exact service area because we target things a little bit differently than most roofers, right? So on the service areas, our biggest recommendation on when you're setting up your service area, don't do what everybody else is doing. Everybody else out there is doing the easy stuff and they're just doing it by counties. Don't do that. It's oversaturated if you do it that way. We want to laser target as much as we possibly can. Yesterday, we were going through this platform and in their little search area, it says we can target neighborhoods, but we tested that out and we're not able to yet. That's going to come. That's laser targeting. If you know the best neighborhoods, best subdivisions in your area, target those things there. There's another one in there, and I didn't take a screenshot of this, but there's another area in there to do a negative search area as well. Think of it. If you've got neighborhoods in your service area that you drive into and you're afraid that when you go to the backyard, that your truck is going to get vandalized or stolen or something like that, take that service area out of these ads. That way you don't pay for that lead. That way you're not going into those neighborhoods or your staff is not going into those neighborhoods. What we recommend on service areas now that seems to be working really well are the zip codes. Start with zip codes, then cities, and then if you're not able to get it targeted by then the counties. But we recommend that you go in that order. And Ross was shaking his head. He's like, no, Chris, that's not at all.
City, then zip. Yeah.
City, then zip. There you go.
We have done some extensive conversations with Google support. And like Chris said, they say advertise to specific neighborhoods first, but it's impossible to do that now on the platform. So then the best route is neighborhoods, cities, zip codes, counties in that
was
order as far as
There
that
you
goes.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. I need to change that checklist then, I think. So anyways, so let's target the city, then the zip code, then the county. Neighborhoods, if it's showing in your service area, if you type in a neighborhood that you know is a good neighborhood and it comes up, go with it. But there's a little search box in there to do that with. By the way, you can tell that Ross and Rochelle are in this platform a heck of a lot more than I am these days. And that's one of the biggest points on this platform is that it changes all the time. So you need to be in it on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So let's talk about daily management. What do you need to do on a daily management or on a daily basis? Well, first of all, you need to be managing those leads. So whoever is in charge of sales or whoever is managing your CRM, that's the person that needs to be doing this. If that's you as a business owner, that's fine, but you have to remember to do this every single day. We see this all the time. We coach our own clients on this and see them doing this wrong. We should never, on the new status, there should never be anyone from the prior day in on that new status, what we are looking at here. So this client hasn't touched their account in quite a bit. There are 9 leads in here that they haven't worked and marked as booked. So that's really the biggest piece, is ensuring that you are updating all of their information. Make sure that you are adding their customer name, match it up in your CRM, match it up with that phone number, what they called from, because it's telling you their phone number here. I've got it blacked out, but it's in next to that potential customer area. Where it says in the upper part of this screenshot, that's their phone number. Match that phone number up with who actually called and so forth. Update the name, update their email if you've got it. Put your notes in there, right? You can see here they called to get more information, left a voicemail, LVM. They worked this, but they didn't mark this as booked or archived. Those are the 2 options on here. If they're not a lead, click that archive button in the upper hand corner. If they are a lead and you did book an appointment, mark it as booked there. So the next thing that we've noticed, and let me go back to that prior screen here. There's a new thing that we noticed just literally this week, that this lead, and it's just underneath the mark booked. I highlighted it. That's an important thing, I think, because simply we're going to be training Google what's a good lead and what's a bad lead. The more that you, and they're using AI, I believe. We don't know that for sure, but we think that they're using AI to ensure that these are good leads and bad leads, and what they can charge you for and not charge you for. So click on that, rate this lead, and this is the screen that you're going to get. How satisfied were you with this lead? Very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, or somewhat dissatisfied is really hard to say that back to back. Very dissatisfied. You know, Ross and I were talking about this yesterday. Literally, most people are going to either click very satisfied or very dissatisfied, right? If you mark either one of those, very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, you're going to get our next screen here, which is, and it asks you, why were you satisfied? If you mark the somewhat satisfied or very dissatisfied, you're going to get this screen here. Pretty easy. Again, this is one of those daily tasks that you should be doing, or your admin back-end office person should be doing, or your sales person should be doing. This should be a daily task that they are going and working those leads, not only in your CRM, but also here in this mini CRM that Google is providing us with. Now, I come back to this screen because notice in the middle, it says neither satisfied or dissatisfied. It didn't come up with anything. So no screens after that. And we found that kind of funny that, well, there was no questions, I guess, that they could ask, or come up with on why you weren't either one. So now I took a screenshot here to see an account for someone that I feel is working this system really, really well. This is a client of ours that when you go to their new, there might be 1 or 2 leads in there, but those are in review, meaning that Google themselves are reviewing those leads to ensure that they are charged or not charged. If you go to active, they usually have a few more in there. But I tell you what, they are on the ball, and they are booking or archiving those people. So the steps here in this CRM, and that's why I took a screenshot of this drop down, are booked, completed, or archived. Very simple, extremely simple. Now, on the booked screen, this is what you're going to see. You're going to be able to fill in all their information, their location. That's typically their address, customer name. A lot of times if they come in, and they're logged in to Chrome, it's going to pull some of this information in that Google already knows, like their name, their email address, those types of things. Fill in what you can. If they call in, you're probably not going to have that information. So again, you have to go back to your CRM to ensure that you have this information. But again, you see this lead, it's right there. You've got the edit button. Make sure you edit that, and you'll be able to also book them, not only booked or mark them as booked, but you can also, and I can't remember the exact terminology, but basically you're just saying it's upcoming. I think that's actually what it's called, upcoming. And you can put in the dates, the date and time of when that appointment is coming up. When they're done there, make sure that you actually mark them as complete. So, and then the ones that are not leads, click them as archived. So what that does is that you are teaching their system, you're teaching their AI, their software, what's a lead and what's not a lead, and what is going through. The more that you work your system, we are finding the more leads you're going to get, the higher impressions, because that's the first part of any Google ads is the impression rate. They're going to show you more on that search engine result page, because guess what? You're making them money. You're making them money and they're making you money. So it's a win-win relationship there. Let's go over some tips real quick. We're getting short on time.
I just wanted to add one thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So the rate this lead feature replaced 3 ellipses that used to be in there where you were able to dispute the ad. And what Chris and I and Michelle as well, what we all love about this is, opposed to like Google search ads, if someone clicks on your ad, that's it, your money's gone. But if someone reaches out to you, and a lot of times when you run ads, you get people going, hey, are you hiring? I got a hammer. I'll jump on a roof for you. You could spend like $150 for that phone call. So if someone clicks on your ad and calls you and it is not a lead that you're wanting to, you can now rate that lead as you're very dissatisfied. You explain why. Google will review it. And if it is, and they record phone calls, they look at all messages. And if it is actually an unqualified lead, you get a credit back, which is awesome. So you don't have to just like, oh man, that's a $60 phone call or a $150 phone call. It's You're like, oh, that sucks. But you can at least get your money back on this platform, which is phenomenal, really.
Yeah, thanks. And that's a great point, is the more that we work this system, the better it's going to get. And that's what they really want. So let's talk about these tips and tricks. All right. The first one is proximity. The closer your listing is to the searcher, the better. It is just like Google Business Profile. So if you've got a specific neighborhood in your service area and your office, your listing is way on the other side of town, you're probably not going to get as preferential treatment as somebody who is closer to you and has done all of the same stuff that you have, and they're bidding the same as you are. There's a lot of variables that go into that, but again, proximity is very important. Make sure that we talked about this. Make sure that you set your service areas, and then that hack, set those negative search areas. Make sure that you take out the areas that you do not want to go to or are just not profitable for you. We've all got those in our service areas. So let's talk about budget. Maximize that budget. We hit on this a little bit here. We've got that one client apparently is north of $200 or $20,000 per week that we've set it at. We tested that. Ross was telling me about a test that they'd been doing. They had it at $5,000 a week. The second that they put it to $20,000 a week, their impressions, their leads went way up in like literally next day kind of a thing. So this is something that is important to test. If you can't afford $20,000 in 1 week, should you set it at that? Probably not. But let's maximize that budget as much as you possibly can, as much as that you're comfortable with. Now, you have to monitor this. And that's part of the daily, weekly, monthly ritual there is ensuring that you are monitoring all of those things. Price is Right. Do Rochelle's trick and add $1, $5, $20, whatever. Don't just say 20,000, say 20,001, because there might be another roofer out there that's bidding $20,000 per week. Make it significant, maybe make it 20,100 or make it odd, 20,199. Who knows? Do the Price is Right thing. This is a new one. And I've got a whole bunch of general tricks here. Booking calendar. We just figured this out. I mean, this is so freaking new that it is so cool. So we have the ability now through the Google platform to hook up your booking calendar, your booking scheduler. We haven't seen AccuLinks or Job Nimbus in there yet, but through ours, we do have the ability to add that in there.
And-
That's super cool.
And it's super ninja. Like, this is something I think we figured out on Monday, actually, was this new feature that actually just got rolled out. So yeah, just keep your eye out on booking calendars.
And no one's doing it. No one is doing it because they don't have the technical capabilities in-house in order to set that up, or they just don't know it's there because Google sneaks things in all the time that they don't tell us about. This is one of those things. I did a search this morning, just curious. I did a search for roofing company in Dallas, roofing company in Houston, roofing company in a couple of different major metros. It wasn't until I got to Phoenix that I found one single roofer that had that set. And you can tell that because it says book. It's a little button, where it said call or, message. There was a book one there. So the reason that I think that this is going to be important is because they're going to bypass messaging. They're going to bypass all of that stuff. And they're going to go straight to, let's just book someone to come out and look. If they have a major issue and you're the one with that, guess who's going to win every single time? And if they are wanting to just not even talk to somebody, they just want to book someone to come out. Next one, business hours. Make sure you don't set it to 24 hours if you don't have a 24-hour call center. I have a lot of clients that will tell me, oh yeah, I'll pick it up in the middle of the night. We listened to one guy that did that. Nope, he cussed the customer out. It was 11 o'clock at night. He cussed that person out and asked why if they were calling them at 11 o'clock at night. That's like horrible customer service. That'll hurt your reputation, which, by the way, remember, is the basis of all of your marketing. So there are call centers out there. We offer one with all of our programs now. We've built one in that is 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you don't have that, just let us know and we can talk. Work the LSA system daily. Oh yeah, Ross said, by the way, they're no longer one of our clients. Yeah, they're not. That person got booted from the program. Boom, you're out. No cousin. Sorry. That doesn't work with good marketing. Work the LSA system daily. This is important. This is one of the most important things to do, in my opinion. You have to have someone doing that. And if you don't, then it's going to be you. If it's you doing it, you have to be disciplined. Do it in the morning, do it in the evening. It doesn't matter. Wherever that it is, take 5 minutes and work the system. That's all it's going to take for the amount of leads that you're most likely going to get coming in through this system. It's not like there's 100 leads per day that you've got to work. If you got that $20,000 a month, a week budget, you might be getting 100 per day. I don't know what they get, honestly. But, what we see is typically you're going to get a maximum of about 50, 60 leads from this system with a maxed out budget. Check direct business search. We talked about that. Make sure that you are coming up when people search for you in your ads. This is a big one, and we see this a lot. And we've added this into our checks to make sure that we are checking and ensuring that we're telling our clients, hey, your expiration of your license is coming up here pretty soon. Google, when you upload it, it knows the exact expiration date of your license and your insurance. It starts warning you. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not looking at your emails, if you're not checking this specific area, then it's going to hurt you. And you're going to wake up one day and you're not getting any calls and you're going to wonder why it's not working. Well, a lot of the times is that there. That's one of our first troubleshooting steps, is making sure that your license and insurance are not expired. Those old leads. This is kind of a bigger one. We've got that rate system now. Go through all of your old leads. We checked it out. You have the ability to do that. Even on those archived ones, you have the ability to go through and rate those. Take an hour to do that and rate all of those leads. If you've got a local service ads account set up and you've worked this system for a while, those leads are all in there. Go in there and make sure that you have told Google and trained Google what's a good lead and a bad lead. That's just going to help you out. It's going to help all roofers out generally. But most important, it's going to help the system help you and charge you a lot less money in the long run.
And that
kind of you're about to talk there, Ross.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to like the question from earlier as well too. How can you differentiate between commercial roofers? And since this rate my lead is so new, I don't know if Google has really put out as much information on it, but I am fairly confident that if you put in that it wasn't a good lead, that it would almost kind of create a negative search term list on your behalf for that account, to where if someone, like, for example, if someone types in, commercial roofer near me, and that is what triggered your ad to show up. But if you said you don't like that lead, I'm pretty sure that if someone types that in again, your ad will not show up because you've been telling Google you don't want those leads to come in. So that's kind of where rating your old leads is very important, because it will fine tune your ad. And that's where you want to be really kind of like on point with this one, as opposed to, I love all the leads coming through, because then you're just going to, that's like, goes back to that house on fire meme. That's just an ad rep that came in and said, apply all changes. So don't try and trick Google. That's the main thing when it comes down to it.
Yeah, for sure. Next one is add all of your job site photos after every job. Just add them. Make that part of your marketing system. Add those job site photos. Just make sure you don't show the phone numbers. So if you've got a sign out front of your, which is what I typically recommend, it goes against all marketing principles. However, just make sure that your phone number isn't shown on the Google platform here. Last and not least, download Google Local Surface app on your phone. We literally just found out about this. There's an app out there. Google is just like Microsoft. They don't tell you everything that they do or add or any of that kind of stuff, but there's an app. Download the app, sign into it. You'll get notified right away when somebody messages. And again, that $1,000 machine sitting in your pocket, put it to good use. Most important though, out of everything, and I'm going to be harping on this for the next 5-10 years, do what everyone else isn't doing. Don't follow the pack. Do things that they are not doing. Things like taking the time to set up your cities and zip codes versus and adding those negatives in there on those service areas. No one's doing that right now. Add that booking calendar. Nobody is doing that. Set that up. Look at that today and make sure that you are doing everything that no one else is doing. That's what's going to make you stand out more than everybody. And that's what's going to make you literally $1 million on this platform or more in the next 12 months. If you do all of everything what we've talked about here. Last, since you guys stayed here so long, use this QR code, go down our checklist. We have a checklist that you can download at roofingsites.com/LSA-checklist. That's roofingsites.com/LSA-checklist. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or something like that later, I wanted to make sure that I added that in there. Next, if you don't have my book, this is 336 pages of the exact blueprint of what we do here at Roofing Sites for our clients. I'll send that to you for free. All you have to do is go to go.roofingsites.com, fill in your information, tell me where you want me to send it, give me your mobile phone number, and I'm going to send it to you then and there. We're going to give you a couple of other bonuses as well, but this book is so important. Obviously I'm the author, so I firmly believe that this can change your life by getting your marketing right. If you are a roofer and your marketing is not working, go get my book now. That is the very basic thing that you can do. Next, if you need us to help, we're here. Just go to roofingsites.com/schedule and book an appointment with me. And we're going to go over your marketing where it currently stands. We're going to evaluate it. And then we're going to build a plan on how to get you where you want to go. If you want to add another $1 million, great. If you want to add $2 million this next year, in the next 18 months, whatever that it is, let's build that plan from point A to point B on how to get you there. Because my big, hairy, audacious goal, my mission is to double the size of 100 roofing companies before 2028. Is yours going to be one of those? Well, we are out of time today. We're a little over an hour. If there are any questions that we haven't answered, we're going to get back with you directly on those. We took note of all of those questions that you guys asked and we didn't answer. Apologize about that, but y'all have a great weekend and may the force be with y'all.